Javier visits a new city. He walks through the streets and sees many tall buildings. He wants to find a museum, but he doesn't know where it is. He goes up to someone and asks them. In the end, he follows the directions and arrives at the museum happy. Javier travels alone for the first time and decides to explore the city. He uses a map but gets lost and walks around the same streets. He asks a kind man for directions, who points him towards the museum. After a few minutes, he finds his destination and learns to navigate better. Javier enjoys discovering new cities, but today he has taken a wrong turn. He uses his GPS, but the signal is weak. He approaches a local who recommends a public transport app. As he walks toward the metro station, he observes the architecture and takes pictures. In the end, he reaches the museum and feels more confident traveling alone. Javier has traveled to many cities, but this time he decides to explore without relying on GPS. As he strolls around, he realizes he has taken the wrong path. Instead of panicking, he asks a passerby and follows their directions. Along the way, he comes across a charming bookstore and a cafe with live music. His small mistake leads to an unexpected and enriching experience. Javier faces the challenge of moving around an unfamiliar city without relying on technology. To practice the language, he asks several people for directions and compares their responses. He notices cultural differences in how people give directions. On his way to the museum, he comes across a street fair and decides to take a detour. He realizes that getting lost is sometimes the best way to discover a place. Javier experiences the city with a philosophical approach, observing how urban design influences social dynamics. Instead of worrying about getting lost, he allows himself to be carried by the environment and analyzes how public spaces shape human interaction. He reflects on how the way cities are built affects the behavior of their inhabitants. In the end, he concludes that aimless exploration is an art in itself.